from the post-millennial. Trump says he's going to deport everybody. We will immediately begin the largest criminal deportation operation in our country's history because this situation is sustainable by no country. So let's see if we can get this to play.
The other day, 22, think of it, 22 people from the Congo. Where do you live? We came from jail. What did you do in jail? We don't want to tell you. They're now living happily. They come from Africa. They come from Asia. They come from all over the world. They come from the Middle East. Yemen. We're bombing Yemen. Here we go with the bombs again. We're bombing Yemen. And people are coming in from Yemen. Large numbers of people are coming in from China. And if you look at these people, did you see them? They are physically fit. They're 19 to 25. Almost everyone is a male. And they look like fighting age. I think they're building an army. They had 29,000 people over the last... I think they're building... They want to get us from within. I think they're building an army. This is not... You know, it's interesting. Did you see them? They all have tents. They all have gas-fired stoves. I mean, this is not like an illegal immigrant. This is... They're building something. They have something in mind. We're going to end all of that stuff. They respected your president. They respected our country. And we're not going to let people, we are not going to let these people come in and take our city away from us and take our country away from us. It's not going to happen.
That is the talking point for Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. People in New York are pissed about all of the homeless, the illegal immigrants being given access to these hotels. Trump knows that New York Democrats are vulnerable, and that with everything people have experienced now, from the lockdowns to them giving these hotel rooms, luxury hotel rooms, to non-citizens, these people are prime for an alternative. I think they're going to vote for Trump. I don't know that Trump wins New York, but I think the polling is already showing that in a D plus 23 state, the whole state, Trump is up, he's only down by 9 points. That's how miserable Joe Biden is. Could you imagine if Trump actually won New York?
Well, I want to say this on the show, and it'll probably get clipped, and I'm totally wrong, but I feel like people are having like political fatigue. And during the pandemic, people were like mad at the system, so they were motivated to vote. I feel like people are not going to show up this year like they normally do.
I think that is wrong.
Okay, I know a lot of people want to say it. I just feel like because the energy is still not the same like it was in 2020, in my opinion.
I do think there's political fatigue. We were talking about this the other day, and you know, I think Elad was saying this, that basically if someone calls you a fascist, nobody cares anymore. And I'm like, right, there's a fatigue there, but I also think it shows that the polarization has ossified. It is now in stone. This divide exists. You don't need the extreme energy anymore. The conversation has ended. That's what's worrying. I do think people go out and vote. They're saying we're expecting record high voter turnout, which is indicative of political conflict. You see that before countries have devolved into chaos. People are upset. You look at the economics of it. You get rid of everything in the polarization market, and you just talk about economics. We're going to see voter turnout.
We'll see. I mean, it made it a lot easier with those mail-in ballots. And, you know, there is a little stat that Donald Trump won all 50 states when it came to in-person voting. And Joe Biden won all 50 states when it came to mail-in ballots.
How about that?
I know. Sounds
And
very...
Trump won 18 of 19 bellwethers?
Yeah.
He, what do they say? No president has ever won Ohio and Florida and then lost the election.
Yep.
All of these metrics. It's just because, you know, Joe Biden and the Democrats were so good at winning elections that they figured out the key areas where if they just got enough pieces of paper with signatures on them, they'd win.
I think there's fatigue from the propaganda, and people are set to vote for Trump who weren't willing to vote for him last time. I was looking at this quote from an article today about the rally. Rep. Torres said the South Bronx has no greater enemy than Donald Trump. And then I went and looked at the crime happening in the Bronx currently, and it's really bad. You know, 12-year-old girl raped, double shooting. I'm like, these people are being told that this guy is their greatest threat, but they're living in violence every day. So they can't take it anymore.
I don't know how you have all of this immigration stuff and you don't see mass voter turnout. You've got black residents in Chicago screaming at the mayor, and you know what they're screaming? You are replacing us. I'm not.
I've seen
those
clips. No, I've seen them from the city council meetings, but I don't know why I don't think they're going to show up. But I just feel like I've talked to so many people that voted for Trump in 2016, voted for Trump in 2020, and they're like, I just don't even want to participate anymore. And those are from conservatives.
Are they saying it because they're beaten from the narrative that the corporate press built, or are they saying it because they don't trust voting at all anymore?
Well,
probably both.
I mean, dude, let's be real. I mean, I love Donald Trump, I'm going to vote for you, President Trump. But January 6th, there are some, there's some stuff that people don't like with Trump. And I feel like, I don't know if that's going to affect him. I hope it doesn't. I hope Trump becomes our president. But there's a lot of people that are actually paying attention, and aren't, satisfied with any candidate with either.
I think
agree.
there's always dissatisfaction with the candidate that's representing your party, right? Like I could understand that, people who felt like maybe Trump didn't do enough or they have complaints about his performance, but I think ultimately people are more likely to say that during the summer, oh, I'm not going to vote, I don't know, I'm not happy, and then when it comes down to it in October and November, they know they're probably going to go to the polls, they know they're going to vote against Joe Biden, even if they're not crazy in love with Donald Trump. And I think it works the other way too. There are Democrats who are saying, I voted for Biden, but, he's just really let me down and the issues and I can't pay for groceries, whatever else, who are sort of fatigued, but they will ultimately cast a ballot for Biden because they feel like that's their only act against sort of this deluge of negative things. I mean, everyone feels fatigue about all kinds of stuff. We're in a very divisive time. And sort of, I think some people feel like the only way out of that is to just like try and vote and steer the country in a direction that would maybe favor you, even if you're not super optimistic about it.
What about the idea of a contingent election where neither candidate gets 270 electoral college votes, and then the Congress would choose?
You get a Trump-Harris administration. So
The Senate would vote Harris, and then
the Senate chooses the vice president, and the House chooses the president. So based on the current political breakdown, you would get a Trump-Harris administration.
It's funny though. I'm not even trying to argue with you, but what about the Republicans that wouldn't vote? You don't think there would be Republicans that don't vote for Trump?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, they kicked George Santos out. George Santos is a weirdo. Let's get he's done some weird stuff, but he had the most conservative voting record in Congress, and they kicked him out. And they had the majority, and they don't even care, Tim. It's just, they don't care.
I don't think they were super rational to kick George Santos out before he was convicted of anything. Like, that's always bothered me. On the other hand, that was mid-term, right? And not that it should have happened, but I think there is a certain level of when you are on the precipice of resetting the government, aka electing a new president, people are more likely to sort of fall in line with their party, for better, for worse, right? Like, you're seeing this stuff with Haley right now. She said she's going to vote for Trump, and you can see the clips of her, she attacked him before she was in his cabinet, then she was in his cabinet, then she attacked him again, then she was like, first she said she wouldn't run against Trump, and then she attacked him like crazy, and now she's saying like, oh, well, I've got to do this stuff, and he should reach out to my voters. I think ultimately, because we're unlike European governments where there are multiple parties and you form coalitions, like, you're either blue or red for the most part. We have the two independents in the Senate both caucus with Democrats, right? Like, you're independent, but you lean a certain way. And so ultimately, I think that even Republicans who are against Trump know that if they are trying to be the majority power in the government, there isn't a benefit to voting against him because the Biden administration treats them so badly.
Plus, Trump's cutting deals. Mike Johnson was down at Mar-a-Lago a couple weeks ago. Trump was working with him on this foreign funding stuff. So a lot of people do think that that Trump's basically working deals with establishment figures. Now, I saw something funny from Zero Hedge. They gave a rundown of the potential VP picks of who they think it's going to be, and they ranked Rubio at number 1. And I'm like, that's the rumor that everyone's been saying, that's going to be Rubio.
I heard Burgum, am I saying it right?
I've heard Burgum too, of North Dakota.
That's what I keep hearing.
I still would pick, I think I'd pick JD Vance over Marco Rubio, and again, this is me being skeptical and cynical, but like, as soon as the corporate media is lining up behind someone, I start to be like, is it really him, or do you guys just want it to be him?
I still think Tulsi is that. You think that's out of the question?
I think it's going to be Rubio.
Really? The Florida thing, like, Florida's a good state
to
have. But he's got Florida.
Rubio is an establishment player who's got ties to the Bush donors, and it's not about. It's funny because I think it was Libby when I mentioned the rumor as Rubio. She's like, oh, because he'll help win Florida, and I'm like, no, because he's deep state.
Yeah, because Trump has Florida, I would say, on lock.
I don't think any of that matters. I mean, the question is, how did Democrats win in 2020? They didn't win by arguing that they were the better leaders. They won by changing procedure, by getting mail-in ballots universal, and then let's just call it extreme ballot harvesting.
Yeah, to say the least.
To say the least. And so the real issue is, do you want to win? How do you play the game? And now we're hearing rumors that Trump is talking with Rubio. Rubio's getting donors on board. I'd be willing to bet that it's going to be Rubio. And if it is Rubio, Trump wins.
If
Cenk Uygur just said Trump wins.
If it is Rubio,
is that what he said? He said,
Cenk Uygur tweeted Trump
Cenk,
will.
I can't ever say it.
Yeah, Cenk. He said Trump will win. Buckle up or something like that.
I believe Rubio's been working on UFO transparency, so I will support that. Last time a president campaigned on, or obviously a president, not a vice president, but Carter campaigned on releasing UFO stuff before he got into the office and then was denied and never talked about aliens again, unfortunately.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.